afternoon, I'm Creeson Agecoutay. Welcome to APTN National News. We begin in the Northwest Territories, where a man who pleaded guilty of second-degree murder in the death of a 22-year-old woman in May of 2020 has been sentenced. The decision came down in a Yellowknife Supreme Court on Thursday. Family and friends of 22-year-old Breanna Menacho openly wept in court mourning the loss of a beautiful soul on Thursday. Justice David Gates said the 11 victim impact statements had a profound impact on the court and showed how even though 4 years has passed, there's still a deep sense of sadness. Ultimately, the pre-sentence report showing Gladue factors played heavily in the sentencing hearing of Devon Larrabee, who admitted to murdering Menacho in 2020. The judge told Larrabee he had done a terrible, terrible thing and would have to live with it for the rest of his life.
The murder of Breanna Menacho was a great tragedy. Its circumstances are violent and shocking. Today, the court handed down a life sentence with no parole eligibility for 10 years. This was the recommendation of the parties. In our view, this was a fit and fair outcome.
New research from the University of Western Ontario found that wastewater from the dried-in paper mill is intensifying mercury contamination in Ontario's English Wabigoon River. The research team detected heightened levels of methylmercury, the most toxic form of mercury in sediment, water, and fish. While the paper mill stopped using mercury in 1975, members of the nearby Grassy Narrows First Nation continue to face significant health issues. Over 90% of the community's population displays symptoms of mercury poisoning. Researcher Dr. Brian Brannafurn hopes the findings will encourage regulating bodies, which includes the Ontario government, to take action.
What my hope is that now that we have this scientific information and this has been demonstrated clearly, that it's taken seriously, and there's no question in my mind that these discharges are worsening the mercury problem in the river currently, and it's not a solution to the whole problem, because the mercury levels in the river are still exceptionally high, and that needs to be cleaned up too. But if we turn down the heat on the process that's forming methylmercury, then we can bring down mercury levels in fish relatively quickly.
To Ottawa now, where the Standing Committee on Fisheries and Oceans presented a report to the House of Commons on Thursday. In part, it has called for the Elver fishery to immediately reopen. Fisheries Minister Diane Laboudiere cancelled the 2024 Elver harvesting season, claiming concerns over safety and conservation. Meanwhile, Mi'kmaq Senator Paul Prosper is still waiting for a third-party independent review of the actions of fisheries officers. It has been a month since he called for the review into the actions of fishery officers. Back in March, the DFO officers left 2 Mi'kmaq fishers who were harvesting elvers or baby eels stranded without shoes, hours from home. And in another incident, a Mi'kmaq person was pulled over in a parking lot on suspicion of transporting elvers and was subsequently maced. Prosper says fishery officers must be held accountable.
In order to proceed forward, there's a need to have a keen understanding of the underlying facts, and something that you can only get through an appropriate independent investigation. I think it's the independent aspect of the investigation, I think, is quite key. You essentially don't want DFO to investigate itself.
The federal government is providing an additional $36 million for a downtown Winnipeg development being led by the Southern Chiefs organization. The $200 million project will see a reimagining of the former Hudson's Bay Company. The landmark building was officially transferred to SCO in early 2023. The project includes more than 350 affordable and market housing units for families, post-secondary students and veterans, and culturally safe assisted living units for First Nation elders. 2 restaurants and a museum and gallery are also planned. We will have more on the announcement on your APTN National News tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. To southeast Saskatchewan, where the Cowessess First Nation has recently received thousands of acres of land back through a recent transfer. The government of Saskatchewan says almost 3,811 acres of Crown mineral rights land will be transferred to Cowessess First Nation under the First Nations Treaty Land Entitlement Settlement Agreement. Cowessess Chief Erica Bowden says the additions to reserve, or ATR, is located in various areas surrounding Cowessess, and the land will most likely be used for more farming. Chief Bowden says all levels of government have a responsibility and obligation in ensuring First Nations prosper as well through the treaty that was signed between First Nations, the Crown, and the Canadian government 150 years ago.
Without it, us, the original peoples, the Queen, or pardon me, the King now, as well as the provincial government, without all of us working together under that treaty covenant, we will not see the success that we need in order for us to continue our life here in what is now Saskatchewan.
We have to take a short break, but when we return, the daughter of Métis singer Ray St. Germain is starting her own solo career. We'll be right back. Welcome back. For thousands of years, First Nations people in the Kluane region have hunted Dall sheep for food and other necessities. But in recent decades, their populations have been in decline. Now the Kluane First Nation is calling on the Yukon government to help provide greater protections for the sheep in order to help them rebound and hopefully bounce back in greater numbers. Sarah Connors has the story.
This is Sheep Mountain, also known as Thachel Dall, in Kluane National Park in southwestern Yukon. The mountain is part of the Dall sheep's range, which are the only wild white sheep in the world.
And there is a lot of sheep just by these. You see that mountain right there? It's kind of like got a flat top. I mean, it's called Flat Top Mountain. There's sheep there. There's sheep all over here. So
Chief Bob Dixon of the Kluane First Nation says his people have a special connection with the sheep.
Part of our history, sheep, our people have used sheep for tools, for clothing, and for, making utensils and all that from the horns and stuff.
It's a relationship that's still highly honored today.
We fought in our final agreements to make sure that we were probably the only First Nation that has sheep in our final agreement as a allocation, and it's because our people told us sheep is that important to us.
But there aren't as many sheep in the Kluane region as there used to be. A 2023 government survey shows in some sheep management units in the Kluane region, Dall sheep have declined by 49 to 63% compared to previous surveys from 2011 to 2016. One management area has as few as 30 non-lamb Dall sheep, compared to 83 counted in 2015. Researchers believe things like predation and environmental factors such as deep snowpacks and late springs are impacting their survival.
Well, it's going to be sad if we lose the sheep on these mountains, right?
The First Nation co-manages sheep populations with Yukon government and other partners. Last year, it asked the government for emergency hunting closures of areas where sheep numbers are low. But Dixon says they couldn't come to a solution. Now, the First Nation is asking for closures a second time.
We expect, the governments to take it seriously and react in a timely manner, right?
The Department of Environment declined to do an interview with APTN News at this time, but a spokesperson said in a statement, the government of Yukon is considering management options for sheep in the area with the feedback we've received from wildlife co-managers, and we will provide more information ahead of the start of hunting season. It also said it's working with its co-managers on a memorandum of understanding to express consensus on conservation status and management options for these sheep populations. Parks Canada is also taking measures to help Dall sheep numbers recover within the national park, such as asking hikers not to visit Sheep Mountain during lambing season. Dixon is hopeful his people's beloved sheep will one day rebound.
We can't really control much of the climate, but we can certainly do our best, right?
Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Burwash Landing.
The granddaughter of Métis country music royalty Ray St. Germain recently launched a solo career. Today, singer-songwriter Catie St. Germain will release her debut EP, Cleaning House or Trying. She sat down with APTN's Sierra Bettens in her studio to chat about her musical roots.
I wake up in the morning, pour myself a
From watching her grandfather Ray perform on sold-out stages to scoring a Manitoba Country Music Award, music runs in Catie St. Germain's blood. After playing in cover bands and bars across North America, the Red River Métis artist is charting a new path as a solo musician. On Friday, St. Germain will release her debut EP titled Cleaning House or Trying. Ahead of the release, we sat down with her in her studio to talk about what's on the horizon.
Thanks so much for joining us, Catie.
Thanks for having me.
I was wondering if you could maybe kind of just start at the beginning. If you could just tell me a bit about your musical roots.
So I pretty much have been like around music my entire life. Grew up kind of watching my family perform and sing and play instruments and stuff. So pretty much from like, I mean, as long as I can remember, I've been on my fireplace mantle, like belting out songs and singing, pretending I was on a stage. So yeah.
Yeah, and I know you're kind of just starting to embark on a solo career, but I was kind of curious about what inspired that turn.
I definitely knew that I wanted to try my hand at writing my own songs and stuff. I've got 3 boys at home that are kind of watching me, and I'm constantly telling them, like, you know, you can do anything you put your mind to, and yet I wasn't. So they definitely were my inspiration to kind of try writing a song.
And what was it like, you know, growing up in a very musical family? You know, your grandfather is Ray St. Germain. You have a lot of singers and musicians in your family.
Yeah.
How did that sort of shape you as a musician?
I mean, I feel like very much so it shaped me into who I am. And I think another part of it too is like just always growing up around so much music and so much like talent was very intimidating for a long time. Like I felt like I was definitely in the shadow a little bit and had to come into my own as a performer and like as a singer. And so I learned a lot, but it definitely took me a while to gain the confidence to kind of branch out on my own. I mean, I'm going to be 35 this year, so it took me a while to branch out on my own and start doing this solo thing.
Yeah, and I was wondering if you kind of moved to your debut EP. Can you talk a bit about some of the themes and stories that, you know, can be found in the songs in the EP?
So High Forever is like a really great love song, super fun and upbeat. And Cleaning House, which is coming out on Friday with the EP, is kind of the next one. It's really just cheeky and attitude-y, and I love that. And then of course a couple that I wrote one's called Last Breath, which I absolutely love, and it's basically just about music, how music has always just been such a huge part of me. So yeah, and then I just can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah, back to this kind of question of influences. I was curious as to what your Red River Métis heritage plays in your music.
I grew up listening to my grandpa on NCI, you know, they'd have the Métis hour times too. So I really tend to gravitate towards like fiddle and all of that in my music. So I think that plays a huge part, especially in some of the newer stuff that you guys are going to hear.
Yeah, and just, you know, being a mother of 3, how do you sort of balance, you know, being a mom and, you know, pursuing music as a career?
I feel like we have a lot of family help, lots of babysitters we trust, and the boys are right in there too. Like they know that if I have to go to a show, a lot of them are family friendly, so they can come, which is really cool and special. They get to kind of watch me perform, which also brings back like a lot of flashbacks of when I was a kid, like watching my mom and my grandpa perform. So yeah, very cool.
St. Germain's debut EP, Cleaning House or Trying, will be available to stream on all major platforms this Friday. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Thank you, Sierra. We'll make sure to keep an eye out for that album. The award-winning artist George Leech is on the show next. We'll be right back. Newfoundland and Labrador, St. John's 5, Charlottetown 22 in PEI, Northern Quebec, Kuujjuaq 6, La Grande River 8, Southern Quebec. Quebec City 14, Montreal 19. Southern Ontario, North Bay 10, Toronto 22 with some sun. Wawa 9, Thunder Bay 6. Northern Manitoba, Churchill -1, Thompson 7. Southern Manitoba, Gimli 5, Brandon 1. Saskatoon 10, Regina 10 as well. Northern Saskatchewan, Stony Rapids 11, Buffalo Narrows 8. Northern Alberta, Peace River 8, Grand Prairie 10. Southern Alberta, Red Deer 9, Calgary 3. Southern BC, Kamloops 11, Campbell River 11 as well. Smithers 9, Dease Lake 4. Over in the Yukon, Old Crow 1, Mayo 8. Northwest Territories, Wati 15, Fort Simpson 13. Inuvik -1, Colville Lake 5. Baker Lake 3, Chesterfield 5. Igloolik 0, Arctic Bay -1. This next guest is well known across North America as one of the premier Indigenous blues artists out there. He's not only a Juno Award winner, but also an inspiration to many. APTN's Tina House caught up with George Leech from our studio in North Vancouver.
And joining us here in our APTN studio in North Vancouver is Mr. George Leech.
Started, we've ended. Oh, baby, please don't get offended. I love you. We've got a long, long way to go. You make me crazy in many ways. Oh, and I miss you many same days. That's why I love you. We've got a long, long way to go. Bet you're thinking, I'm thinking that it's not okay. Baby, that's not what I'm trying to say. Baby, I love you anywhere you come. All I'm saying is we're gonna make it a long, long. We'll be rich, we'll be poor. You may even throw me out the door. I hope you catch me, as we got a long, long way to go. Let's stay young when we're old. Let's try not to fit it to the mold. Let's make a roll. We've got a long, long way to go. I bet you're thinking, I'm thinking that it's not okay. Baby, that's not what I'm trying to say. Baby, I love you anywhere you come. All I'm saying is we're gonna make it a long, long way. I'm saying could make it a long, long way. I'm also saying we got a long, long way to go. But I'm also saying we're gonna make it a long, long way.
George, we are so honored to have you in studio today, to hear your voice playing your 1931 dobro here. It makes me so proud and so happy to see you again. It's been a long time.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for having me. So It's good to be here.
Yeah, it means a lot for us. Tell us what you've been up to.
For myself, lots of writing. Kind of the short of it is just, a lot of changes since COVID and different outlooks on music. What I'm doing music for. I guess the long and short of it for me is it's a way of life, not a career anymore. It's just about me moving through with music, and I just feel like I'm finding a better way to operate, get a better work ethic that's healthier for my stability.
Yeah, absolutely.
That
and
makes sense.
I mean, we go back since
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah.
I was actually speaking at a youth conference way before my time with APTN.
Yeah.
I walk into a room, there you are playing this exact guitar to a
Yeah.
group of kids, and I was like, wow, who is this guy? So it went from there. I mean, we booked you into the Commodore, you
Yeah.
opened up for the Powder Blues.
Yeah.
You had your own dressing room,
Yeah.
your name and
Oh, yeah.
lights, and now look at you. What's happened over the years?
Oh, lots of beautiful things have happened over the years. Being a father, was all part of that. And but musically, it's been a lot of really cool ups and downs, and really, really intense journey, but a lot of beautiful lessons on the way. And it's just a blessed life. It's not easy. There's a lot of traps out there. But you just get up, brush yourself off, and go sing about it.
It's amazing. Well, it certainly comes out with your music. I mean, you sing with so much heart and soul, emotion, happiness, sadness. It's all there. I mean, you've got everything. You won a Juno Award.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
You are, one of the ones that I always hoped for and saw your bright future, and I know that you see that too. Speaking of your future, what's happening for you?
Just writing, recording. Going to be hitting the studio soon, and then just start dropping some songs, I think, at first, and we'll see whether I'm employed or not after it.
I'm sure you will be.
Doesn't matter. I'm still going to play. Money or nobody.
Any words of advice for some upcoming musicians out there?
It sounds cliche. Just be yourself. Nobody can be you better than you. So it's just being true to who you are, and you can't go wrong. Yeah.
It's always an honor to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for all your beautiful music and your beautiful words. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Come back and see us anytime.
Will do.
Thank you. Back to you in studio.
Thank you so much, Tina and George. And that's your midday newscast for this Friday, May 24th. Dennis Ward will have more stories for you in our afternoon newscast. Make sure to join us then. From everyone here at APTN National News in Winnipeg, hi, miigwech, masicho. Thank you for watching.